God is good, and today, guys, we're actually going to be talking about Final Fantasy XIV. Now, as many of you know, there's no reason for me to kind of rehash the news everybody's talking about, but just real quick, they did announce their newest expansion, EndWalker, which is coming soon, later on this year, hopefully, if nothing, affects that. But what I think is most interesting about this, that I want to make a video about, that I don't see anybody else really talking about, is the fact that the character in the cinema scene is wearing a cape, right? Usually, we see them wearing armor, we see them wearing, typical things that are available in the game, right? But you can't wear a cape in Final Fantasy XIV. And this has been brought up before, and they said that they weren't able to do it. They'd like to, they just can't because of technical limitations and cloth simulation and whatever, right? And then we noticed that later on during the life of Shadowbringers, that Red Mage actually did get a top that sort of looks like it has a cape. Now, there's not a cape slot, though, but I have something very interesting to talk about that as well. Now, before we begin, though, guys, and get real deep into this, I do want to give a major shout out to the members of Napalm. Thank you all so very much for keeping this channel alive and making this channel possible. Could not do this without you. If you're interested in becoming a member, please click the join button down below for more information and a list of perks. And also, big major shout out to Reiko for being our highest tier member on the channel. Okay, guys, so let's talk about this. So yes, there's a cape. He's wearing one. I think that's interesting. Normally, even in the cinema scenes, it kind of represents the kind of armor and things that you can get in the game. And now he's wearing a cape, so I think that's pretty weird. Now, also looked into it, and yes, they've said they've had issues with that in the past, like I said before. However, it's also now known that they're taking belts out of the equation. So belts are something that the character normally wears, mainly for stats, because it doesn't show as a glamourable. It doesn't really change the appearance of the character like everything else does. And they said they're taking that out during this expansion. Now, but wait a minute now. If you're taking out belts and you're showing your cinema scene here with a guy with a cape, and by the way, I love capes in MMOs. I don't know why, but I do. It feels like to me that maybe you're going to make cape, a new slot in the inventory for your character in order to replace the belt slot, right? Or the waist slot, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, guys, I think that's super possible. I think that they toyed around with it. Like I said, that Red Mage particular top that looked like it had a cape. I think that it all kind of makes sense, right? They tested it and they're like, okay, we can make it work with the models and everything without too bad a clipping and all the kind of things that they were worried about. And I think they were super worried about just looking good and looking like simulated cloth and all that kind of thing. It looks like they've got something in the works where they could do that. There could still be other technical limitations that I'm unaware of, obviously, but I do know that, typically when you're developing a game and an MMO, you don't want to untangle too many wires when you're adding things to your game, right? So I do get it that adding something an additional to the inventory, and it has to be able to mesh with every other, piece of gear, especially the tops where it would kind of wrap around the neck a little bit and all that kind of, I get it. It's pretty complicated, but if they found a solution, then that would be excellent. And I just can't see, and this Square Enix is very cryptic, right? Like they'll announce things without actually announcing it, kind of thing. And I just couldn't believe, as I was looking around, I kept looking for somebody going to mention that fact, right? And I didn't find anybody, maybe because nobody else cares but me. I don't know. I guess we'll find out from how well this video does. But I don't see why they would put that in there. Why would you show the cape and then, plus you're taking away an inventory item, right? You're taking away belts, which they're like, oh, don't worry, it won't hurt your stats. Everything's going to balance out. Okay, well, it would balance out if you're adding something in its place, right? The only thing that's got me confused on this is they said that the slots, for how many slots you had available for the belt would actually be distributed out amongst some other inventoriable items. So that kind of has me thrown off a little bit. And maybe they just thought that the cape looked cool, right? But it is very bizarre to show a character wearing one and then you have absolutely no way of doing that unless, there's some characters wearing them and, they know it's something they're going to eventually introduce into the game. And so they're going to go ahead and start trying it out with NPCs before they really fully release the game. That's just as big of a possibility as well. Guys, that's really all I had. There's no reason for me to go on and on about the same thing over and over again. That's it. What do you guys think? think, right? So comment down below what you think. Do you think that they're going to add capes? Do you think this was kind of a little cryptic thing or not? Let me know. And of course, if you're not already subscribed here, please do. It's kind of what we do here. We cover MMORPGs, specialize, of course, in Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, and we also cover CRPGs, RPGs, JRPGs, all that kind of thing. Guys, before we go, I want to give one more big shout out to the members of Napalm. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. I could not do this without you. I really appreciate you guys. If you're interested in becoming a member, please click the join button down below for more information and a list of perks. And thank you, Reiko, for your highest tier membership. And until next time, guys, God bless and happy gaming.